Well, hello, I'm Dr. Julia Royston, and welcome to another edition of Live Your Best Life. And oh my goodness, I'm here with my good friend, Ms. Rita Oliver, and super excited to have her with the Live Your Best Life audience, where, as you well know, I strive to bring you people, places, tools, information, and resources to help you live your best life. Okay, so hold on to your seatbelt today because we're going to have a conversation that is sometimes uncomfortable and hard for people to have. And I know we have our own myths about it, we have our own background and history of it. And I know some people are like, "Ugh, you're not getting ready to tell me how to run my life and do my money." But let me tell you something. The Bible says two things. Yeah, the love of money is the root of all evil, but it also says money answereth all things. So therefore, we need some things answered, and it's going to take money to get it. Now I know the old adage, money can't buy me love, but baby, if you not in love, if you are in love, it's a whole lot better if you got money to pay your bills. But anyway, I want to introduce my good friend, Miss Rita Oliver, and I want her to take it away, introduce herself, tell us where she's from. And I know those of you in the virtual space, you're going to be Googling her and finding out where she is on social media as where she is in her website. So she's going to tell you right now.
All right. Thank you, Julia. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this. And I always love getting together with you. So, as Julia said, my name is Rita Oliver, and I am the CEO and founder of Strategies, Options, and Solutions. And I'm a master financial coach, and I am the money strategist. And what I help everyone to do, help really professionals, is I help you to get organized with your finances so that you can no longer have a deficit every month in your cash flow. That then will allow you to do three things: save, keep, and grow your money so that you can be prepared, have a plan, and you can prosper. And so I am originally, Julia, from Macon, Mississippi. So I am definitely Southern woman, a Mississippi magnolia, if you will.
Well, come on through. Come on through. I love it. I love it. Where can people find you before we go further? How can people
Okay.
find you on
You can
social media
find
and
me.
your
My
website?
website is Rita Oliver, SOS.com. So my name and then the letters of my business, Rita Oliver, SOS.com. On Facebook, you can find me at Rita Oliver. I also have a business page. That's the name of my business, Strategies, Options, and Solutions. You can find me there on Instagram at Money Strategist and Twitter at Money Rita FMK. So I am all over social media, but Facebook and Instagram, you can always get me, and definitely at my website.
Rita Oliver. That's RitaOliverSOS.com. So go there right away. I know you all need to sign up for her newsletter and all her email list. So I know you didn't decide to get on the email list, but when it comes to your money, you need some advice and some information. So before we move forward, let's kind of go back a little bit. So what is your because I find that people have a history with a thing. I mean, you don't just all of a sudden just walk into that purpose. There is a pathway that's led to this purpose. So tell us a little history about your money habits and kind of what your background is that even led to this point.
Okay, well, Julia, as I said, I was born in Macon, Mississippi, and I am the fourth child of five children of my parents, Hoover and Bessie Oliver, had there in Macon, Mississippi. And my parents, we all grew up in a 900 square foot home. And my father is one of 14 children, and his dad, my granddad, and my grandmother lived in Alabama, and they were sharecroppers.
Hmm.
And my grandfather couldn't read or write, but he could count money. Okay, that's probably where the first start came from. And so my grandmother told him that if we could help this man make money, we should save our own money and get our own.
Right.
So they did, and they came to Mississippi in 1936 and paid cash for 400 acres of land, and brought the 14 children all there. So from there, because they had a big enough house on that. So my dad and his brothers, and they brought their wives there. They had the first two children there because there was enough land there. So my grandfather allowed them to plant a crop so then they can make money to go get their own house. So that's what
Wow.
that's right. So that's what, his son, he allowed his sons to do that. So my mother and my dad were there with 4 or 5 of his brothers and their wives. They had their first two children. So they had bought a big enough house for all of that. And so then, of course, my parents got their own house, Julia. They closed on that house 7 days before I was born in November of 1965. And I found the paperwork on that, which was an inspiration for me, is that my mother wasn't working. My dad was just a farmer. That house cost $9,000, but they put 40% down.
Wow.
Okay?
That's a lot.
That's right. In
That's a lot.
1965, being a black man with a
Yeah,
black
that's a
wife,
lot.
and she wasn't working with 3 children already.
My Lord. Oh, and we're in Mississippi. We're still in
In
Mississippi.
Mississippi. That's right.
My God. My
In the
God. That was a
60s.
lot of money. That was like 40 million.
That's exactly
That was a lot of money back then. Yeah, that was a
in
lot
the
of money.
60s. So then, growing up in that house, my mother and father always had joint bank accounts. And, they had their disagreements with money, but we always had clothes. They had 2 cars and they paid and supplemented. Of course, we got grants and stuff, and 4 kids graduated from college.
Wow.
And so, but in that journey with me, Julia, when I was in the 10th grade, I took a bookkeeping class and I really loved it. And I knew then I wanted to work with numbers and data. So I took out a paper and pen because my brother that's older than me that I'm next to was already at Mississippi State University. And so his catalog was at home. And I got it and I found accounting. And I took out a paper and pen and I wrote the dean of the school. And I said, I'm in the 10th grade. I took bookkeeping. I really love this. I think accounting matches this. What do I need to do to be there in August of 1983? And she wrote me back and she told me exactly the steps to do. And that's what I did. And I was there.
Yeah.
And so then, yeah. And so I've always been a person that's been inquisitive. You wanting to know, because I knew that I was watching the TV show Dallas because I grew up in the TV era.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I saw the clothes, I saw the women, I saw what they were doing. And I knew then I wanted to live in Dallas, Texas. So then when I got to Mississippi State, my brother told me to get in the co-op program like he did because he was an engineer. He had gotten a job with John Deere doing co-op. He'd work a semester and come back to school. I did the same thing with the federal government. That's how I got to Dallas, Texas.
Wow.
19 years old, still in college. I had planned out my path that I was going to, do this the freshman year. I was going to pledge Delta my first year, sophomore, second year. I was going to be working. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so wait a minute. I got to stop you right there because, it goes, I had the same grandfather, tobacco sharecropper. We talking about Kentucky, okay?
Yeah.
So, and my grandfather could not read and write, but I don't think a day goes by that I don't say something that he said. I mean, he may not have been able to read and write on paper, but he had great wisdom, great insight, and great wisdom. And I believe that, all the things that have happened recently in our country and injustices and I mean, just all the kinds of things, how much we really need to rely on our village and our heritage. Because it's like we're standing on the shoulders of those people that would have liked to, but they didn't have the opportunity.
Exactly. But they created it for us, Julia, because their actions showed us what to do when we get to an opportunity. That's what I feel from my grandfather and my parents. So, I went to college. I started working for the federal government. And, in that first semester, I worked with them, Julia. I was getting ready to go back to school. They came to me. They said, you do really good work. We really like you. And so we are making you a full-fledged offer right now. All you need to do is graduate. So I had to pass. All I had to do was execute.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
So
the
then
key
as
though, even if you don't have that, because I find so many people, even today, I'm like, you don't have the excuses of your grandparents and mine who were born in the 20s and 30s, not too far from slavery. I mean, y'all don't have them excuses. Why do you still use that as, I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm like, are you kidding me?
Really? I agree. I agree 100% because there was no internet then. You talking about a black man and his wife and 12 to 14 kids coming to Mississippi in 1936 with Jim Crow laws, and you can lay down cash on 400 acres.
Oh yeah, now that's something. That's something. Yeah,
Yeah. So we have no excuse today not to get our money together because they
yeah.
weren't making that much money.
Right.
Sharecropping, they wasn't getting much, do you know that from your grandma?
No, And if they couldn't read well, the other people was taking the money and they was making the most money. So,
Correct. And you had to get all your
yeah.
supplies and food and stuff from
Oh
them.
my gosh, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. You was
You know,
rich, like what do they call? We was rich like 1 week a year. Sharecroppers was like
correct.
because then they have to pay back everybody that they owed from the year. I just can't even think about
Yeah.
that whole life. But some of us are living that sharecropper life, and we're gonna hold on to that thought because I know you're gonna
Sure,
get there in
sure.
a minute.
But then my story with Money, Julia, is then I got out of college. I started working here for the federal government. And then my career started moving and getting on track. And I started doing things, with cars. And Julia, you know me. I love stuff. You can see it. I got the jewelry, everything. That's a part of me. That
Yeah.
is, So, so that led me into a lot of debt. It did.
Yes. Yeah.
It did. Led me into a lot of debt. I had the home. I was making over $50,000 before I was even 30 years old, and
Oh
making
wow.
over 100 before I was 40. So I've had a great career with federal government. So I'm making the money, Julie. So and people think that because you don't make enough money is why you get in trouble with money, and that's not true. I'm here to tell
Mm-mm.
you, making a six-figure salary as part of this journey here with me, I had the five-figure credit card debt, had the mortgage, had the car, looking good, styling good every day, but every 2 weeks, Julia, I had $75 left to try to make it for the
My
next 10
God.
days.
My God. My God. Yeah. Now
Okay.
that's a
So it's
scary
not
thought.
that because you make less money, I'm making six figures. Okay.
Yeah.
People don't ever think that. No, I'm making six figures, make good money by myself. I don't have any kids, I don't have any dependents. I don't have that. Even though I got a degree in banking and finance and learned about money, still doesn't mean you know what to do with money.
Exactly.
It doesn't
Exactly.
mean that. Doesn't mean that at all. It is all by trial and error, and we go through a lot of trials with it and a lot of errors. But going back though, as I said, I heard my parents discuss money. We didn't discuss money in the house.
Mm-mm.
The whole culture we have here in America is not to discuss money. It's to keep it close to the vest. In corporations, people tell you don't discuss salary. So you
Yes.
have people that don't discuss it with their friends, don't discuss it with their family, and hey, don't even discuss it with their spouses.
Right.
So that's just been a cultural thing. But all of us have a money history, and we
Mm-hmm.
have an original association with how money was introduced to us based on what we saw our parents do. So I did too, because my dad was a spender, but my mom was a saver. Okay. So it was that balance between them. He would want to do stuff, but mom would come with that voice, with those details, of really
Mm-hmm.
looking at it. And I have that part of her too. And I had that part of my daddy as a spender.
Yeah.
And I got both
Right.
of them in me. Yeah. And people out there do too. But what I want to say is then, Julia, as my life, I started when I got in my second home, and I had a good friend that was a retirement counselor in the federal government. And I told her about it. She said, Rita, you need to make this your last house. She said, I'm a retirement counselor. I have checked many people out, and I have seen many of them come back to work after I have checked them out for retirement. And they
Mm-hmm.
came back because they said they couldn't pay their bills. That resonated with me, Julia. It did. And so I said, okay. So she said, I told my husband that. She said, we got on the biweekly mortgage plan. She said to pay our house off early. So she said, you need to look at it. So I did. I researched it, and then I got on it. And then, it was going good and everything, Julia. And then, you know what? I was decorating the house and decorating
Uh-huh.
me. The only
Mm-hmm.
thing I couldn't buy something from was for kids and a dog because I didn't have it. So,
Yeah.
because I didn't have it. But then here's the thing. When I decided to refinance the home, because I had bought it and had two mortgages, like a lot of people do out here today. They get two mortgages because you're avoiding the PMI or you don't have enough to make the 20% down payment. I had sold a home, made $41,000 on it, and put down 15%. But I didn't want to do the 20 because I wanted to get some stuff.
Yeah.
So then 6 months later, rates dropped. I basically, Julia, I had a 40-year mortgage. I had a 30 and a 10. Okay. Some
Oh
people
wow.
listening to this now, you may be sitting in that situation. So the rates dropped. And at that time, rates were 8.5%. We weren't in what we're in now, 2% and all that. We weren't in that. So then
No.
I went and refinanced because the rates dropped, and I consolidated that 40-year loan into a 15. Okay. I took $250,000 worth of interest off my back when I did that.
Wow.
Because the lady at the title company said, you did a very smart thing here, Miss Oliver. And that's a lesson to people listening to me. When you refinance, you won't cut your term. Okay. 32 or 30 is not really doing anything for you. It's
No.
not. You may get a little bit lower pay, but you're extending your term out.
Yeah.
So then I did that, Julia. Then I was going along. 5 years later, had decorated the house. Back in the debt saddle again, riding high. Okay? Riding high. Decorating the house, me. So then I refinanced. And I made a decision at that time because I had also changed too. I was putting the max in my 401k. I had some savings because before I wasn't having any savings.
Right.
So then I said, okay, when you do this got to be it. You can't go back into debt again. Can't do this no more. Okay? You've been in, you've been out. So when you pull this cash out to pay these 2 cards off, this got to be it.
Yeah.
So that's the commitment. And then the other thing I did, Julia, is I ran the numbers on the mortgage on what I could afford because I had paid my car off. So when I ran the numbers, I said, okay, I can do this. So then I put myself on a 10-year note. Okay, 10-year mortgage, 120 months. So refinance to that, and I started paying extra money, and I was paying it bi-weekly. Then, I would take it up $100 every year. And that 3rd year, Julia, I looked at it. I found a spreadsheet out there, and I started running the numbers. And I said this. I said, well, you know what? If I stop all these layaways at TJ Maxx and Marshalls, I
Watch
can
out now. Watch out now.
there and get it. And because see, I went out of credit card debt and got layaway debt.
Oh. One from the pot to the kettle. What?
But I'm being honest, because somebody out there is doing it.
That's
Doing
right.
it.
That's right.
And so I said, if I stop this and I do that money to here, I could pay this house off.
Come on through. Give us a plan. Give us a plan, lady. Give us a plan.
Yeah. I said, well, I said, because, I looked at it, Julia. I got 4 closets of clothes, shoes, and every one of them, all the stuff. I said, ain't too much more I'm going to need. Okay.
That's right.
Then I got on the 10-year note. And then I made a commitment right then and there when I saw those numbers. I made a commitment that every 6 months I would up it $200. And I was on a bi-weekly plan. My mortgage payment was $1,800. And that last year, Julia, I was paying $3,600 a month on that mortgage because $1,800 was hitting that principal because I knew what I was going to gain on the other side. It's about making sacrifices. When you can see that vision, that long-term plan, and that's one thing people got to do here. And I put it on paper. See, folks don't want to put this stuff on paper.
No.
See it. Because paper is reality, but you need to see reality. I put it on paper, and I said, I'm committing to $200 every 6 months extra on this mortgage. And at the same time I was doing that, Julia, I was putting the max in my 401k, and I was saving $400 a pay period into my emergency savings.
And you can look back on that and go, well, how did I do all of that? Because you weren't shopping.
That's right.
Because you weren't doing the things that were not on your path and plan to be.
Yeah. It was not going to get me to where I needed to be. So fast forward, Julia, 2011, the mortgage was paid. I took a 10-year note and paid it in 5, just like we do these cars.
Yeah.
Just like we do this car. It was a sacrifice. So, but then once I paid it, I already had a decision. And that's the thing, is that when you come out of debt and you're going to free up some money, you got to have a plan for where that money needs to go. Yeah, exactly. And don't let it hit your hand. So I had a plan that I was going to channel it to savings. So I just effectively did $2,000 every 2 weeks going to the bank to build for me. And then, Julia, money was building, had the money to savings. And then, but Julia, I had some more disposable. So so that's when the e-commerce was blooming. Yeah. I had 4 boxes coming to the house. Hey, I know who I am. I know who I am, and I'm not ashamed of that. I can tell anybody that publicly. I know who I am. But I woke up one morning and Women of Power Summit, Black Enterprise, saw a lady on there being interviewed. She had a coaching business called Women Building Wealth.
Okay.
And so when she was talking, I was listening to her, and I said, I got to talk to her. Yeah. I got to talk to her. And so, and this was in January of 2013. But see, here's the thing, just like me, and like all of you out there listening to me, you don't want anybody to see it. Because see, when you call somebody, you got to reveal.
Yeah, you do.
And I didn't call her right away. I didn't call her till July because I didn't want her to see what I had been doing with my money. Yeah. And that's what you all feel about me as a coach. Same thing, any coach, financial advisor, or whatever kind of coach, you don't want to reveal. But to get to another side and to another level, you got to reveal. You got to get somebody with an objective eye to show you something you don't know. And when I got with her, she showed me something I didn't know, Julia. So when I came to her and told her I wanted three things, I said, I want to know, can I retire early? Or if I retire when I'm supposed to, will I be okay? And what do I need to do by starting a business? That's what I asked her. And so she came back, she ran the numbers and everything. And I told her, I said, I'm really ashamed. I said, because I feel I should have more money than what I got now. And she told me, she said, you got no reason to be ashamed. She said, when I look at what you've done well. She said, you sitting here with $650,000 in your 401k. You got an IRA going. You got to pay for a home, pay for a car. She said, you saved an emergency savings. You got $50,000 in emergency savings. She said, I got couples married and got this. She said, so no, ma'am, don't you ever be ashamed. She said, you did a lot by yourself. She said, you did a lot by yourself. She said, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
She said, a lot of work. She said, you need to give yourself a hand, take a breath. She said, that's a whole lot of work. Then she said, I'm so glad you called me. She said, because you'll call me at the right time. She said, we just need to tweak your 401k. She said, you've done well, but because you are going to retire in the next 7 to 10 years, we need to get you a protective strategy so you don't have huge swings because you don't have a lot of time to make up your money. Right. And I said, okay. And then I said, well, what about my shopping?
Her addiction. Her addiction was it.
Am I gonna have to stop? She said, no. She said, you ain't got to stop shopping. She said, we just gotta get everything together for you. She said, and you have a certain amount to shop with.
Yeah.
She said, she said, she said, because that's part of you. That's just it. She said, like,
it's just you. It's not me. Like, it's just you. Said, so you got to give yourself permission. It's not like you have to ask nobody for permission. You just got to give yourself permission, and your money will tell you. Won't it? Your money will tell you how much permission you got.
Correct. And so she told me, she said, we just got to give you a certain amount here to do it, based on this. She says, we do the priorities. She said, but that's a part of you. She said, I like fine dining. Yeah. So, that's my thing that I spend money on. So she said, you got to have that in your life. So we did that. And, it took me a while to kind of get it and process it. And that's what I've learned in working with people. So, because Julia, people changing up how you've been doing it.
Right.
You be robbing Peter, Paul, John,
all of them, everybody.
Because she put me organized. Yeah. So once she did it, and she told me what to do with the 401k. And once I got it, it was a great thing. And then what she did is she allowed me to work with her a little while as an intern to learn. Right. And then I eventually came out on my own in 2016. And perfect. I came with my different spin with strategies, options, and solutions. But I opened up to her, and it was the best thing for me, Julia, because when she did that strategy for me in my 401k, it was wonderful because that's what's allowing me. I have no fear about retiring here in the next 11 months because it totally changed.
11 months. Oh, that's so awesome. Congratulations. Yes, so proud of you. Wow. Yes. Come on in. The water's good. Girl, come on in.
So she helped me to see it. And so see what I didn't see, Julia, and see what I didn't know. Yeah. And once I got it, she told me, she said, she said, you are apprehensive at first if you don't understand it right away. She said, but once you get it, you execute. Right. She said, you execute like nobody I've ever seen. And so that's been my journey. So I have then, perfected it and changed it because I went to financial planning school. I went to master coach certification and just my continued research, and I attend webinars and everything, industry webinars. So, from that, I perfected what I do in coaching people into my financial freedom coaching program. And so my journey has not been clean at all. Nobody's journey is.
No.
But it doesn't have to stay that way. And that's why it's, people always say sharing is caring, and that is true. And you got to care enough about yourself to share what's going wrong in your life with somebody who can help you.
Exactly. We're going to take a break right there. We'll be right back with more. And we're back. Oh my goodness. I hope you've had your notebooks filled and your journals filled and that note-taking app in your phone. Cause see, I know all the ways that we take notes, not just by hand with pen and paper, but I am super excited to have Ms. Rita Oliver, the money strategist, with us today because she's given us some great nuggets. Now, you know, if you sign up with Ms. Rita Oliver, you're not signing up with someone who's never spent any money, who's never been ever been in debt, because she's been very transparent in her stories. So don't worry about putting your numbers out there, putting your bills out there, putting your debt out there, because this money strategist has been where you've been, but come out on the other side. So thank you for so much for being back with me. But I wanted to go through just four groups of people, four groups that I've been in all of these. I've been in all of these segments, but I just wanted to give one nugget. Now, the only thing is she's only going to give you one nugget. If you need a full plan and you need a full strategy, you need to go to ritaoliversos.com and sign up for her coaching so that she can walk you through. I know her plans are she has a 6-month coaching and a 12 month. You can get your year together, get your money right. But so the first group of people, single, no
Mhm.
kids,
Mhm.
they've graduated from college, first job. What is the one thing that you would tell somebody says single, said Miss Oliver, where should I start? What is the one thing they should be doing?
The one thing they should be doing is living on less than they make, saving their money, saving the excess money they have, living on less than they make.
Exactly, exactly. That's number one. That's definitely number one. And that's usually gets ruined in college because they usually are putting credit cards out there and oh come on, get it and pay for it later. No, your parents will pay it off. No, they won't. Then the number two group, you're married young. You're in your after college, between 25 and 35. What are the major focuses should be for a young married couple?
That they should be communicating openly and communicate open and be transparent about their money and their debt and be on the same page in on their finances, managing their finances. That both of them should be in there managing them, not one.
Not one. Oh, I love that. And we're going to talk about because she's got books and materials for you. So we're going to talk about that the wonderful book series and set that she has. Okay, now group number 3, you find yourself divorced. You find yourself divorced. Okay, I'm just going to go from the woman's point of view because that's who I am. You find yourself divorced and you trusted the man with your money, and now you like, oh my gosh, I didn't know. That's usually the first sentence. I didn't know. I trusted him. I was in love with him. I married him. We said, and he said, and he made more money than me anyway. So what is the first thing that somebody who finds themselves divorced, totally unexpected, because you stood there and said, I do till death do you part. But what is that suddenly female divorcee? Where does she go? Where does she
Um,
start?
where she starts, Julia, is she first has to make sure she has gotten her settlement from her husband, and that now it's time for her to take a deep breath, but also start establishing credit, not necessarily credit, but establishing things in her name, saving some of that money, saving her money so that she'll have money for the rainy day, because she's now accountable, responsible, and liable for her life.
Right.
She allowed it to be managed by somebody else, but she needs to establish the accountability, responsibility, and liability for her life and also for her money.
Yeah. I always, I've had friends of mine who say, well, we're separated. And I had that happen to me when I was separated.
Mhm.
My ex-husband, just all of a sudden, the bill collector showed up and I'm like, why are you asking me for a truck when he's driving the truck? Why you well, your name is on it. So you have to still be, because you're not officially no, I guess we were divorced then, and my name was still on the truck.
Right.
So because my name was on the truck and he didn't pay the bill, then it was left up to my responsibility to pay the bill. I
Mhm.
was devastated to
I
think that
bet
I
because
would
you're
be
not
paying
driving it.
yeah, I'm not driving it. It's not even in the state I'm living in. It's
That's
not like
right.
I can pick it up and go put the key
Yeah,
in it and drive it off.
exactly.
No, it
So
was in
a
another state.
divorced
I'm like,
woman needs to really have them ties separated, and she needs to make sure that happens in that divorce decree
yes,
of
yes,
what
yes,
is
yes.
his,
And
you
what
know,
is mine?
what is mine, and make sure that it's in writing, so
Right.
that nobody is calling you that doesn't need to call you.
Exactly. Or that you're not even responsible. And a lot of people, well, I didn't know. I thought we were going to get back together. I said, yeah, but that person could be making bills with your name on it. Cause when you trust them, they can put your social security number on stuff. It's I know
They
we
can
only
do
said
that.
one nugget, but that just brought black flashbacks to me. I'm like paying for somebody something. I'm not okay. I come out of it. Whoo, whoo, Julia, come out of it. And then the last group, the last group is the over 40 group. I think,
Okay.
that's that. It's not quite, I don't know. I'm in my 50s, so I think middle age is now in your 50s, not in your 40s. But I guess it is, the but if you're hitting that 40 mark,
Hmm.
what is the one thing that you need to be double checking on?
Get out of debt and stay out.
Yeah.
Get out of debt and stay out, because the 40s are in the financial industry. The 40s is seen as that conservation and protection phase, meaning you should have more cash flow and less debt.
Yeah.
We
And you
see a
should have
difference today. We see
right.
a
And you
difference.
right. And you should be, you should have gone to college and had your education and have made established what your career direction. You could change it and, move
Yeah.
industries or whatever, but you should have a clear cut direction of who you are and what you can do.
Correct. Because
And
if you look, Julia, at us now in the pandemic, biggest issue facing people are, people who didn't have any savings, the rent eviction. If they don't pass this thing by March, all that's over.
yeah,
So it's getting out of debt and staying out of debt, so
right,
that you can now build more cash,
right.
build more assets. Hmm.
And of course the people that were in business and did have brick and mortars, I mean, that's a whole nother conversation,
Yeah,
a whole nother story,
absolutely.
because that
Absolutely.
was just a devastating. And some people were like, okay, I'm done. But some other people were creative and made that work. And I applaud you
I do
for
too.
the drive up and we'll deliver at your house and whatever the contactless delivery or whatever that looks like. But my thing was be
Yeah.
creative, love. You cannot, I mean, I guess because I'm a creative person, and so I'm just always thinking up off the top of my head, what's next? What should I be doing now?
Yeah.
So that whole sitting waiting on what? A check? What?
Yeah,
No.
I mean, people waiting on the stimulus. I mean, we're going ahead. We February, mid-February now. So, they're doing the impeachment trial today. Then they're gonna get to the stimulus package. So you don't know if it's gonna stay 1,400. You don't know what it's gonna be. You don't know if you're gonna get this
Exactly.
unemployment.
Exactly.
And you're right, creative. Look at how many people started business making a mess today.
Yes. Yes.
Something we gotta have. That's a problem being solved in the marketplace.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, that was a major. Honey, the sewing machines was buzzing. They hadn't been buzzing before. They got
I
them sewing machines out and dusted them off and figured out what to do
figured out what
to
to do.
make
Pulled
income. I mean,
all them singers out of the closet. Them
oh
singers
my
knowing
lord, the sticker sewing machine. You best believe it. I can't even sew, but if I could, I'd have had mine out there. I mean, that's a real place and a real thing to really consider. And I guess I want to ask this right now. The difference, because you're getting ready to move into full-time entrepreneurship.
Uh-huh.
Really that mindset change and that mind, we haven't even got to your books yet, but that mindset difference and change from a job of punching a clock now. I mean, I even had to make adjustments as much in my business as I was for 9 years or whatever, and then having the last almost 3 years of full-time entrepreneurship. There's adjustment that has to be made for from the business side of your brain and the job side of your brain.
Absolutely. I mean, even in creating it, and the time I have worked it since 2016 has been an adjustment, because I walked into a structure to the federal government. Everything was there. So what I learned from this, Julia, is that I had to create the structure.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing. If people go into business, I think you need to understand that it's a lot more than putting some products out here.
Yes.
It's an infrastructure that you got to put together. And part
Mhm.
of that infrastructure, particularly for me, because I'm analytical, I had to go into the other side of my brain, creative, because, the way I did stuff in the government is different than talking to people out here about products, about
Exactly.
services.
Exactly.
So, yes, I'm transitioning, and I'm welcoming the transition. I start to see it now with myself. I do.
Mhm.
Because I think the Lord set it. Well, I know He set it up for me in this last year because latter part of last year at work, I have performance goals at work because I'm an audit director, and all the performance goals that I'm supposed to meet by September 30th, 2021, I got them done by December of 2020. So I'm technically really kind of coasting. All
Right.
the work
Yeah.
is done.
Right. Right.
So it allows me, though, Julia, as you talk that transition, for me to do things for myself. I can do
Mhm.
training that will help me and for the business because I have access to all kinds of training.
Right.
So that's the thing with people being an entrepreneur, even if you're still working, you got to see how your current work, you can leverage that to help you with the business. And that's what
Exactly.
I did. I used
Exactly.
it to leverage me to learn things that I didn't know on social media about infographics, how to do this, how to do that, just learning different things. So that transition is different, but I'm ready for it because here's the other thing is that I do have a safety net, Julia. I have a pension
Yes. Yes.
for the rest
Me
of my
too.
life. So I'm not worried about income.
Right.
And I have a 401k and I have savings. So I'm not going to be, I am. And then the other thing I did, so I'm not that worried about income. I do want to grow the business to a certain revenue level. Don't get me wrong there. But also, too, the other thing is that what I'm doing this year in that transition is laying the foundation with these two products that I'm launching this year. One being what we're going to talk about, and I'm
Right.
going to do another one that's related to my job. We have 3 million federal government workers, and every one of them got to retire. And I have gone to retirement seminars, and I've seen the niche that they're not hitting, and I'm going to fill that
Well,
niche.
let's do it. Oh Lord, lady. Well, that is rule number one for entrepreneurship. You've got to figure out what the people need. What is the need? What is the problem that
Mhm.
needs to be solved? What's the question that needs to be answered? Now that is the entrepreneurial rule number one. Figure
Mhm.
out the problem, the niche that's not being met, and the question that's not being answered. As Bishop Jakes preached not too long ago, Lord, I don't know what year that was, Lord, make me an answer. So Rita Oliver is to come up with the answer.
That's right.
We're
Come
going to
up with
take
an
another
answer.
break right here. We're going to be right back.
Okay.
And we're back. This has been so wonderful. Now, I have my accounting degree, but I never did practice with accounting, but numbers is kind of my thing. But I'm like Miss Rita, I've always needed help because I like to shop too. So
Yes.
I hope this has
Yes.
been helpful for you and helpful for your family members. But we've got a next generation that we've got to take care of and we got to shine the light on. And I'll have to bring Miss Rita back so we can have one for young entrepreneurs and young people because they need to really start early. So
Mhm.
I guess if we fix our what we're doing first, and then we can go back and get that next generation. So as you know, this is my one of my favorite parts of my show, and that's talking about your books. So I want Miss Rita Oliver to tell you about her books. And if you're a business owner or entrepreneur who does not have a book related to their business, shame on you. Reach out to me. But
Mhm.
I want Miss Rita Oliver to tell us about her books and where hopefully we can find them at RitaOliverSOS.com, correct?
Mhm.
Okay. So
Mhm.
tell us about your books and how they relate to your coaching.
Okay. And so how these relate to my coaching, Julia, my coaching, I told you I have two programs, I told you all 6 months and then 12 months a year. And it's financial freedom coaching program. And so I come from the standpoint of what I do as I introduce myself is is helping you build a solid financial foundation. We really have to get the basics together before you start taking the leaps. You got to know what's coming in your home and what's going out and get control of that. Live on less than you make, live within your means, and reduce and eliminate that variable spending. So my books, Julia, address. I don't know if we can see because I got that black background here. Well, here it is. Yeah. So y'all seen me. But my books, my first book, this is the flagship. I don't know what it's doing. Can you see it?
Oh yeah, I can see it. Go ahead.
Okay, this is the flagship. This was the first one. Disclose before you disrobe. Financial necessities before you say I do and after. So this book gives the couples, it's a straight to the point guide that gives the couples 7 chapters to help them prepare for the new life together with a business meeting of the minds, what I call a disclosure meeting. And I have, and what led to this book, Julia, is I read a scripture one morning. It was my daily reading, Mark 4:22, that said, whatever is hidden must be disclosed and the truth will be revealed. And I
What?
said it was time to write the book because I'd had it on my mind. And
Right.
so in coaching, I've had couples and I've seen this energy with them with money, and secrets came out when we were coaching and stuff people didn't know, and people thought this had happened. And then just hearing people too talking about, well, I got separate, he got this, I got this, I got that. And I start thinking, well, how do we do all this other stuff as a couple, but we can't talk about the money? How is it? Because I did and starting to promote my book and the new ones that I'm gonna talk about. How is it, Julia? We can have bed, body, and bad, but can't talk about the bank.
Well, what else? Say that, but again, bed body, bed body and beyond, but we can't talk about the bank. Watch out now. Watch
We
out.
can have a bed, we can share the bed, body, and bath, but we're
Bad.
not talking about the bank.
Oh, come on
How do
through.
we leave in the bank unchecked? You
Ah,
know, because that's why I kind of did disclose before you disrobe, because disrobing is about taking your clothes off. And
right.
if you have a conversation about doing that, how can you not have a conversation about money? See, that's the premise here. I don't see how you can't do that one too. How can
Yeah.
there be shame and embarrassment? Because I said if you weren't embarrassed about the bed, body, and the bath, you can't be embarrassed about the bank.
Watch out now.
So this is the flag. This is the flagship that gives them about the reasons why they need to talk, how they need to talk to each other with awareness, respect, and temperament, and about opening their books. Do you have any books? But
Uh,
being transparent about that. And then, addressing goals together as a couple. That's what Disclose does. So Disclose has been out and couples have had it and they've been reading it. So it came to me in last year that they needed something more. People can read, Julia, and some people can take action. We talked about execution and
right.
put it together and go. But then we need to also address those that can have got it here, but they're saying, how did I put it on paper and how do I actually really do it?
Right. Right.
So then and in working with my significant other, because he has a master's in social work, and I told him I wanted to do this project and I wanted him to help me with it, and he came up with the name, and and that is how we get to the combination code. Master the household finances in 30 days. He said, because we're talking about combining lives, combining households, combining money. What's the code to unlock this? Why we got so much fighting? So what's the code? And so in preparing this, Julia, I have done a workbook, an interactive workbook that helps the couples with taking a deeper dive into their money persona, uncovering and outlining financial details, and designing what I call the master blueprint to build wealth and legacy. Because, see, if you left the bank unchecked and you didn't discuss it, we got financial infidelity, we got relationship bankruptcy, and is
Mhm.
your marriage financially sound? And then in this, I have exercises to take the couple through, going deep about basically, I give you these exercises in here, give you the code to unlock it in 30 days. And, in doing this, because we're talking about bringing our lives together as well, I came up with a 30-day journal for them called the Combination Code 30-Day Journal. And in here, Julia, they're going to chronicle their journey in preparing the workbook, read and disclose. What were their feelings? What were of anger, of joy, of bliss, their understanding? What did they learn? What did he learn about her? What did she learn about him? What did they learn about each other? What did they learn that they need to do to work together? So the journal is for them to chronicle that journey of getting these finances together in 30 days, of really what was it like to be open and transparent with him? What was it like to show the statements? What was it like to bring out the money secrets? What was it like to bring out the money scripts and the money expectations in your head and your money beliefs and values? Because, we're all hardwired to operate a certain way. But,
Right.
when we start approaching that subject with money. Because see, money and romance and business life are different, but they both need attention.
Yeah.
Okay, it's different. But the thing is with couples is that all of us have a money history. And that history is from, we talked about it today, what I saw my parents do, what Julia saw her parents do.
Right.
But then you also bring in that history, you bring that and what you've done in life to the relationship with money.
Exactly.
So, and so does your partner. So, how do you make the two come together? Because marriage is about dying to self, it's about we, our, and us. So, I'm helping you all bring it all together because my goal for them in this, Julia, and the benefits they're going to get with this, because I have the disclose, I've got the workbook, and I've got the journal. I'm going to also do a live masterclass March 5th, 2021 at 7:30 p.m., where we're going to delve deep into it. And we're going to really get into the code and unlocking this. Because what I want them to get, the benefits they're going to get, is a better understanding of each other and where they come from with money. They're going to get a plan to be able to face and pay all of the expenses that they'll face in life, save money, and build that financial foundation, and also fund the lifestyle that they want to do, but above all, gain financial freedom.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. So they can get all your books at Rita Oliver
At
SOS.com.
RitaOliverSOS.com.
Okay.
Yes,
And they
the
can
Rita Oliver
register for the
SOS.
class too as well, correct?
Actually, with the class, what I will do, if they register on my website, then
Uh-huh.
they will get the email to register for the class.
Okay.
Because right now, my marketing and branding specialist is putting all that together. So,
Wonderful.
because what we'll have is we're kicking it off, and it'll be on my website. We're kicking it off with a free webinar, with
Okay.
a free webinar to talk about the issues here. And
Gotcha.
then in there, you'll be get the links to buy the books and the link for the master class. But if you get on
Exactly.
my email list, I'm going to be sending that out as well. So,
Perfect. Perfect. So
yes,
the first thing is everybody needs to go to RitaOliverSOS.com. You also need to propose, send the same link to your ministry leaders, your marriage counselors, etc. Because this resource is really key and essential for you to do this during marriage counseling. Now, I didn't know Rita Oliver when I was going through my own marriage counseling 15 years ago, but that would have been great for us to have gone through those workbooks then as well, because we did that in marriage counseling and really talked about our money. But fortunately, I already had a mindset shift. God did that for me, hallelujah, because otherwise it would have been a major mess in my marriage if he'd have been trying to fix this when before God did it. But you need to think about, and as people who, I am retired almost 3 years. Miss Rita Oliver is getting ready to head into retirement. Believe you me, when your numbers add up and your numbers are doing well, and you look at facing retirement age, it's going to be worth it. The sacrifice you made when you were younger, it will be worth it, because people are living longer, and longevity's in my family, and I pray that it's definitely in yours. So
absolutely.
these are
Absolutely.
our money issues. March 5th, 2021 on your calendar so that you can participate in this masterclass. Be following Miss Rita Oliver on all social media so that you can attend her free webinar and then get the link to register
Yes.
for her March 5th, 2021 class. Get all the books, share them
Yes.
to your friend, get other copies. This is where generational wealth happens. This is where
Correct.
the
Hmm.
generational wealth to be passed on to the next generation is important. And you need the tools, strategies, resources, and of course, I brought you the person, Miss Rita Oliver, so that you can live your best life with generational wealth. So thank you, Miss Rita. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Julia.
Hopefully, when the
Same
world
here.
opens up, we'll get to do something else in person
Yes.
sometime soon, somewhere. But otherwise, we're going to be here in the virtual digital and online space, bringing you people, places, things, information, and tools to help you live your best life. I'm Dr. Julia Royston, praying that you continue to live, not mine, not the people down the street, not Big Mamas, but you live
Lord.
your best life. Be blessed. Have a great day.